members of the Tau VAR. I do love it when a plan comes together. And that plan apparently was jamming a bunch of 2-up armor saves into a LiSt and making it work with the so far least competitive detachment that we've seen in terms of overall win rate and everything else. And I can absolutely say that it was truly a banger. It was absolutely a banger. Now, one thing you'll notice for the start of the stream is that my camera's a little bit washed out. For some reason, the settings changed, so to get rid of the green screen behind me and have it look good, like without a bunch of like green haze, I've had to wash myself out. So if you're noticing that, you know, whatever, that's, yeah. But we're going to talk about my tournament run today, go through the list, recommendations that I'd have, stuff for you guys going forward, because obviously the stealth suit change affects almost every single Tau list. So, yeah. Tau Tactics in the chat. John, it's great to see you, buddy. Fish to do face. I don't know that I recognize that username, but welcome to the stream. Was this before the stealth suit change? It was. Now, I will have the original list that I ran. This was a last hurrah for that list, but I will also give my recommendations for where I think the list is going to go and what will keep making it functional. Lord Hestia on Twitch, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you too. Had a nice wash. Not in the good way, but sure, let's go with that. All right, so let's start off with the list. Happy flashbang, everybody. Get wrecked. So, now I actually wonder if my browser view would be better for this. Probably would be. And I think I need to turn on... Where did I put my little browser input? No, that's not the one. That's not the one. And that one's just as bad. Why is it not doing the thing that I wanted it to do? Sorry, everybody. 2 seconds, professional streamer. Don't you even worry about it. All you people. Here we go. Alrighty then. So let's move this a little bit across so you can see it properly. Now, Immortal Tau, we came in at 1990 points. I played around with a couple of different things, but this version of the list was the best thing that I could possibly think of. My eyes, oh, don't be a baby. Summer's early in Oz. I mean, kind of. The world is kind of on fire, but that's a whole other issue. So, Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit with the thermoneutronic projector. Now, when I first put together this list, and you can go back and watch the original Immortal Tau video, I was talking about having like triple kill, triple broadsides, triple riptides, which I think still has a place in some metas or games. The Cold Star with Fire Knife unit was the saving grace. It is one of the best pivots that I have made, as it gave us just that little bit of extra dangerous volume and also, importantly, an Overwatch threat. Now, the reason why this is so big is that normally the thermoneutronic projector at 12 inches, your opponents can play around very, very, very easily. At 18 inches... No, you can't. And you've got a 24-inch cyclic, which means if they're in range of Overwatch, they are in range of basically all of your guns. Now, I did go for the shield drones. This came in big with people who would try and precision out the Cold Star. Number of times he lived on like 2 wounds, and then I started healing him, and my opponents couldn't fucking believe it, because in some of those games, the Ghost Kill had healed over 10 wounds. Which is just kind of insane. Like, they just could not kill them. And it made it so fucking funny because the name of the list, like, they didn't believe me when I first told them that. But yeah, so the Cold Star was the best pivot I could have possibly made. The thermoneutronic, because of my 9th brain, this felt so fucking good to run again. Like, it's not what we had with the melee attacks and everything else, but it is still a fucking monster weapon. Ethereal was really, really good. Backfield objective holder, a little bit of CP. Of course, I failed most of the time because my rolls suck. But if you're normal, because in the games where my dice were normal, the Ethereal was really nice. Not just for the CP, but having later game Marker-like guiding and having just an extremely cheap body to sit on the backfield. There is an argument that I could have changed this over for Dark Strider, and I think if I was a little bit more worried about deep strike shenanigans, or more importantly, 6-inch deep strike shenanigans, then Dark Strider would have been the pivot. I didn't need to this time around. My read of the meta was correct. And yeah, then I went for single man broadsides. Now, first thing I want to say, Twin SMS, I would do this differently next time. This was the most useless shit that I've ever used. Even in matchups where it should arguably be good, the Twin SMS just did nothing when it was firing indirect. Like, I want to believe in a world where it's good. I think Twin SMS makes sense when you have multi-broadside units. I was running single mans, and there were plenty of instances where I would have just preferred Ignore Mods or the Twin Plasma. Just straight up, like, I won't mince words. The Twin SMS was the biggest thing that I wanted to take off of the broadsides. Everything else was great. The single model units. Now, in each of my matchups, universally, I started 2 of them in strat reserve and 1 on the board. Now, the main reason for this is that there are only so many places you can put them, and broadsides live and die by their movement. Because they're only 5 inches, and in this list, I have no way to advance and shoot. Where you put them gives an enormous amount of information to your opponent. If they're in strat reserves, they have no information. Therefore, they have to worry about them until the point that you come on the board. And oh boy, I got them into positions my opponents didn't expect, and it fucked them up. Like, single broadsides should not fuck as hard as they do, especially with our guiding changes. Guiding changes really were a shot in the ass that the broadsides, I think, desperately needed. Glad to see you prove those haters in the Facebook group, Rog. Thank you very much, dude. There is a part of me that does enjoy being a petty little bitch. And the petty little bitch in me really did love finishing up the weekend as good as we did. And I'll talk about the one game that I lost because it was soul crushing. Not in terms of the opponent. Rowan is fantastic. He is one of the best NIDS players that I've ever played outside of like Alex and Glezos. And like, it was already going to be a hard matchup. I had anything that could go wrong, did go wrong. And like, yeah, but anyway, I'm jumping the gun. Broadside's great. Fine Knife team, I've already said, the missiles are fantastic. It is a volume unit that with access to, like, the most common strat that I ripped was sustained hits. Sustained hits was easily like the biggest value. I think the lethal hits are fine. I very often didn't need to risk the unit for sustained and lethals. Sustained was very often enough. Because of the stuff that you're generally sending at them. Good evening, almost morning from the US East Coast. Hello, Brandon. Good to see you. And hello to everybody who's joining us. Welcome to the stream. I said earlier, you'll notice the camera's a bit washed out. Settings went fucked. Anyway, won't dwell on it. Double ghost kill. Now, the original meme, and shout out to Dubsy, who was the first one that was like, I just want to chuck a bunch of 2-up armor saves on the board. That's the inspiration for all of this. Triple ghost kill would have been fun for the meme, but I'm very glad I didn't run it. And there actually is a version of this list, I think, where we run a single ghost kill. Now, the reason for that is that the first ghost kill was extremely useful. Distraction can't affect, stand on an objective. Usually, it was either my opponent's natural expansion or my natural expansion. There was one matchup in Voten where the ghost kill ended up going into the center, and it was just such a fucking bitch to remove. Even with guns that like bypassed a lot of my defensive layers with like, you know, the conversion beamers, crits on 4s. Now, they couldn't use those on the ghost kill specifically, but they used those on the riptides a lot. And then you had the grav blast cannons, which were just anti-vehicle, anti-monster 3+. So, like, they got around a lot of my stuff, but 1 was good. 2, I really found that I would have just preferred to use those 160 points for extra screens, maybe like a crisis, like a flamer scythe unit. Potentially, like, there were a lot of pivots that I could see myself going for that would have been more useful because the ghost kill is so swingy in its damage output. Once you have a distraction can't effects, I didn't tend to need the second, though this is 100% survivorship bias, because I haven't played a game without those two, and there were instances where they'd have to focus down one. It took all of their resources. Then there was the second one on the other side of the board that they couldn't deal with. Sisters especially suffered from this because I just fucking sprinted at their face, popped a Rhino in one activation, charge, tank shock, and it took 3 turns to remove. So a lot of this is a little bit of results-based reasoning and survivorship bias, but I just, like, as I'm playing, even when I'm winning, I really do a thorough examination of, am I happy with everything that's happening, and could I see something better if I played the same way or I pivoted my deployments or whatever? Would it work better? I think there's a version of this list with a single ghost kill. Wait, you guys can afford screens? Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. It's going to be a Tau player. So, Crew Carnivores, I actually think that I would love to put in 2 units of Crew Carnivores. Now, this came a little bit from the end of the tournament, but also shout out to John from Tau Tactics. I was watching his OxCAD breakdown, and I actually felt a lot of the times through my game that a second unit of sticky, so that I could trade one, then trade the other and have that sticky later in the game, would have been really, really good. So I think this tech piece from John is a really great heads up play, and it's the direction I think a few of my lists are going to be going. These guys are just the absolute fucking goats. If you think anything in the Tau roster is the goat besides Crew Carnivores, I'm sorry, it's okay to be wrong, but you are just strictly wrong. Crew Carnivores are the fucking best. Now, double Pathfinder team. There was a version of this list where I ran triple Pathfinders, and I think that is still a valid way of playing the list. I didn't need them, especially because I was, the captain of my team, and I was doing the pairings. I was able to make sure that I didn't go into matchups where that third unit of Pathfinders for volume was absolutely required. Now, I've just seen a comment. Fish to do face. Breaches are the most fuckable data sheet in our codex. Unfortunately, they're not the goats. The goats are the Crew Carnivores, mainly just because, even just go from the WCW and all of the winning lists that are currently getting reviewed on YouTube, John's, mine, whatever, everybody included Crew Carnivores. Very few of them included Breaches. Breaches are the most fuckable data sheet, but they are not the goats, unfortunately. All right, so anyway, I did use the tech, and this list was submitted before the WCW, so me and the rest of the top Tau players in the world were all thinking the same thing. Recon drone for one, grav inhibitor for the other. This grav inhibitor drone fucked with my opponents so goddamn much. There were certain charges where my Pathfinders would wrap riptides and broadsides, and my opponent would go, measure it out, okay, it's an 8-inch charge. And I go, no. You will have to end that charge move within range of the Pathfinders, which means that is a 10-inch charge, sir. And they would be like, in that exact tone and language. Ions and semi-automatic grenade launcher are non-negotiable for me. Then the stars of the show, the triple riptides. Twin fusion blasters were amazing. They were a really good fuck around and find out gun. I also had a lot of success with the Strength 10 ion accelerator. It's almost like I've been telling GW that the gun needed to go up for 2 years. I don't know. But it just, like, it was on every single person's mind. They were fucking petrified by them. And really it meant that I got to control the tempo and the pace of the game, because I still had damage, but everybody also had to plan around that if I snuck a Riptide out, took some shots, they couldn't even guarantee that they were going to kill it in return. -1 to wound and then healing, like, it just... yeah. Anyway. 2 units of stealth suits. Now, this was a 6-man and a 3-man. Now, what this means is that my list wasn't actually hit as hard as it could have been by the stealth suit change. This was a last hurrah for the old stealth suit sizings. And after the tournament, I can actually genuinely say that I think 2 units of stealth suits are non-negotiable. The efficiency that the Riptides and the Broadsides and whatever else get... Oh, thank you, my lovely. From the reroll ones to hit and wound... is just so incredible. And again, this is bias because I roll like shit on average. I have no idea how the fuck I win events, but whatever. Reroll ones to hit and wound for me are just like, I cannot replace it. And so even though I put out an angry video about the stealth suit change, even though I stand by everything I said, and it sucks to have to eat that nerf, unfortunately, that is a price that I have to pay. So went down 10 points here and lost a model, went up 30 points here and gained 2 models. So I will be showing a version of the list later on, but essentially we're going to eat this nerf and then pivot. And then double Vespid was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Double Vespid allowed me to aggressively trade for points all the way through the game and never gave my opponent a moment where they could think, all right, screening done, I'm just going to sprint. And that is supremely powerful. Even without strat support, I find you usually need 2 anti-tank threats to kill a Riptide. With support, forget it. Yeah, so a lot of the only opponent that actually got up on me was the same one that kind of identified that if I take out everything else, the Riptides will have a hard time winning you the game, and that is absolutely correct. So the correct play a lot of the time for people, and they don't do this because they plan around the Riptide so much, but plan in terms of how do I kill it? How do I get onto it and kill it? In this list, it's not something you're going to do unless I roll like shit, which, fair assumption, anybody who knows me has played against me, that's a good way to make me roll some ones. But there were so many matchups where the Riptides would just live on like 4 wounds, and then it'd come my command phase, they'd go up to like fucking 8 or 9 wounds, and then on their command phase, I'd go up to 12 or 13 wounds. And it just like, they're like, holy fuck, I just put everything into that, had to trade back, and nothing happened. Vespid were really great. If you can fit it into your list, 2 units of these guys give you so much flexibility and aggressive scoring potential that I don't want to give them up. Yeah. Okay, so that is the list that I ran and some of the thoughts on the units. Now, in terms of, and I forgot to open new recruit, so we'll do that and I'll show you the pivot of the list that I will want to go to. I don't know if I've actually done it or if I have to build out the list. Let's have a look at our Tau. It's likely just this one. Yeah, so this is the list, so I don't have to completely redo it. Stealth suit teams go to 110 each. I'm 10 points up. Now, there's a couple of ways to go. My first thought is get rid of one of the ghost kills, and then we've got 150 points left over. Now, that allows me to go Crude Carnivores, and then I've got, 85 points. We can then look at maybe like double Pathfinder with Grav Inhibitor, and throw in a big fuck-off screening unit in the Crude Farstalkers. That gives me so much scoring, and I really don't lose a lot of damage. Like, the ghost kills I wasn't using for my primary damage source. They were helpful, they were annoying, but they were not the stars of the show by any means whatsoever. Now, that's not to say that they won't do damage. It's just you can't rely on them to do damage. Now, the reason why the Riptides are different is the Ignore mods came up a lot more than you would think. Fall back and shoot, both of them have. The missile drones actually added a lot of extra volume. And the Riptide once per game dev wounds, I actually did get dev wounds off. I know. I'm as surprised as you are, but that is definitely something that pushes them further over the ghost kills and allows us to use the points a little bit better. The game where I lost, aside from all of my dice fucking betraying me, 2 Grav Inhibitor drones would have been fucking massive. It would have stopped 3 scoring plays that he made. And the Crude Farstalkers being able to just screen out the middle and not care about whether they get charged or whatever else because that unit is there to trade, or just put them all in behind a wall and go, you can't go anywhere around this feature, you're going to the outsides of the board or whatever it might be, is still a perfectly valid way. To be honest, I also think that you could just go keep the recon drone, drop the Crude Farstalkers, not go to double crit carnivore, and just go for like a star scythe unit and something else cheap. Like there's a ton of ways that you can take this. And it's one of the things that I love about this list so much is that it felt modular in a way that not a lot of lists have, where it didn't feel like a mistake. As long as I had the backbone of my broadsides, my fire knives, triple riptide, and at least a ghost keel, this list was able to do what I wanted it to do. And I wasn't sacrificing the immortality, because the immortality came from broadsides and riptide. Well, and, singular ghost keel. So, that is a very, very big deal. All right, so the next thing that I want to point out is that out of, I think it was 128 players, we placed 29th. Now, you'll see that my loss, it was a 0. One thing I actually noticed, though, from a lot of the really, really good players that are up around the same area I am, when they lost, they copped 0s. When they won good, and when they copped a loss, look at this. jUsT is an excellent ACT player. He was the rank 1 Space Wolves for the longest time. Sorry, 144 players, my bad. 144. And we placed 29th. Now, one of the things that I think is important to point out here, because you can see the scoreline, is that this list doesn't win massive. It's not like Montcar where you jump on your opponent's face, and if you can get your damage off, everything's dead and you're fucked. This is an extremely efficient, reliable list that can have blowouts if there's a massive skill diff, but because I was playing players that were generally around or just lower or just above my skill, like this from a teams tournament, 15, 16, 17, and a 13, and the worst game of my fucking life, a soul-crushing experience. That was a 0, but everything else was a reliable scoreline. That's what I was going for. Now, one thing I do want to point out, not related to Tau. Bren is a recent addition to the Pantheon. We picked him up at a teams event before I had Mally. He was on a Merc team because he wanted to play in some teams. He saw the vibe of our team, how we interacted with each other, the positivity, everything else. And he was like, I want to play with you guys. Even if it's just as a Merc, whatever. He joined the team proper. Bren got priority pairing from me because I have seen how fucking good he is on his 1,000 Suns. And against very, very, very good player, Bren came 2nd overall for the entire tournament. Got an 18, a 20, a 20, a 20. And a 20. Is that 5? Whatever. I watched Bren traumatize 5 people that weekend. And it was a fucking joy to watch. So shout out to Bren. He did absolutely incredible. Really, really proud of his scoreline and his placings and everything else. So let me go through my matchups and give you an idea of what we were running into. So round 1, Sean Bowman. I love Sean. He actually, at a lot of the events that I ran, helped me set up and pack up and everything else. He's just such a positive member of the community. And this game further reinforced that. He is an absolute fucking gentleman. So he ran Delver Salt Shift. Now I'm going to be, there's one of my patrons, Gray, who's in the Pantheon tier where they get a shitload of coaching from me and everything else. He's been asking about Votan, and I've been learning them to be able to provide that. Delver Assault Shift wasn't something that was on my radar just yet because I've been so fucking pilled to the fucking... Oh my God, why am I forgetting their names? It's going to be in this list somewhere, and I'm going to see it, and I'm going to hate myself because I didn't remember it. The Brokir Thunderkin with conversion beamers and blast cannons and everything else. I've been looking at those and the detachment where hecatons get to drive through walls, which is cool as fuck. This list I fell in love with. Even though I beat it, it was only because I had the tools to be able to deal with, what he was bringing. So the Brokir Ironmaster, Memnir Strategist, and Uthar the Destined. Then in this detachment, Berserks get the battle line keyword. So 2 10-mans and 3 10-mans and 2 5-mans. Now, obviously, they go in hecatons. They also get the deep strike keyword in this detachment, so they are able to show up rapid ingress wherever the fuck they want. They are able to use yield points to get like +2 to their move, advance and charge for a strat. Like, there is just, it was so goddamn fucking fast. I had to like really, really play outside of my fucking mind to get this win. Now, Capricus Carrier, obviously great. It's just a better version of a Sagittor now. The Chthonian Earthshakers really surprised me by how good they are. Really, really surprised me. When I saw Indirect, I was like, all right, they're going to bring it out. It's going to be shit like everything else. No. These guys are fucking incredible. In my opinion, every single Votann list should be running at least a squad of these. At least a squad. Shame we didn't get to play. I would have loved it, Dan. Actually, what were you running for the event? Let me search you. Hang on. Dan Sherry, Emperor's Children. I am actually curious to see how Emperor's Children does against the Immortal Tau list. I think if I can screen properly, it's a win for me, but I don't think it's a blowout, ever. I think you would have to really fuck up for it to be a blowout. You didn't want any of this heat? That's big words. That's big words. Especially because what was this? Oh, you were below me in the rankings. Oh, okay, I see. To be honest, Dan, like if we had have gone into pairings, there's no way I would have put myself in EC anyway. So you're probably right. Like usually rush melee armies are not what I want to put myself into. I would have put you into Bren and traumatized the fuck out of you while one T-Sun's character basically lifted your entire army. Sorry, you didn't play Team Queensland twice on New South Wales? Actually, we did. We paired up 2 brackets in the last round. Our opponents came 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 7th, I think. But yeah, I beat Bren though. I mean, maybe earlier, not current Bren. Not fucking, is that all you've got? I've gone Super Saiyan Bren. They're not the same people. They're not the same people. Like, look at this monster. Look at this fucking monster. Think I'm the only one who's beat Bren in the last 6 months? No shit. He's on a fucking heater. He's on an absolute fucking tear. Anyway, back to the list that I was looking at. Earthshakers, incredible. Absolutely blew me away with how good they are. Hecaton Landforts, no one's going to be surprised by them being good. And the Jaegers being able to split from the Capricus is just really, really good efficiency. They've got a reactive move, so if you put the Capricus out of line of sight, as soon as you move up to an objective, he just goes, cool, I'm going to reactive move. I'm already within 3 inches of the transport, so I'm just going to get back in it. And then you've got to like actually pop the transport to get rid of them. But yeah. Sherry was the inspiration for this list? No fucking shit. He was coming for you. He was coming for you hard. All right, so that was my round 1. Now, the big things with this matchup that really, really showed the strength of the list is that I don't care if you touch my big suits. The Zerks, and Sean and I actually rolled this out a couple of times because we had a little bit of extra time, and I did stop the Zerks from getting on them. They didn't even lift a squad of Crisis suits. Now, a little bit of that was, the -1 to wound. A little bit of that was Sean getting some bad rolls. But we actually worked out the Riptides and the Ghost Kill, he actually doesn't kill unless I fail, like, way more saves than I should. Way more saves than I should. So that meant that I was able to use cheap screening units that he knew he didn't want to touch. And then basically put pressure on him that I'm standing on 2 objectives that you can't get to because I've screened out effectively. I'm scoring primary. I'm killing whatever of yours is standing on objectives. So pressure's on you. And I also got bottom of turn, which I really, really wanted. I wanted to go second. So like all of the pressure was on Sean. And it just didn't come together for him. I screened well, shot effectively. Really fucking funny moment. In the first turn, he'd put a unit of 10 Berserks in the center and a unit of 5 behind them. He needed to, we were doing Terraform, and he drew, I think, like a kill secondary and a dead secondary. So he's like, all right, 10's going to go for a charge. Guess who was standing in his road? The fucking -2 to charge Pathfinders. The unit of 5 behind did the terraform. Cool. He jumped out to a point lead. Great. I lined up because I looked at the Feel No Pain and whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, Feel No Pains are a little bit sketch, whatever. I lined up my Crisis unit, 2 Riptides, and a Ghost Keel, all spaced out correctly, by the way, just on the tightest vision line. And I knew that he wasn't going to be able to counterclap very hard. He was going to touch a Ghost Keel if he was going to touch anything. The Crisis unit shot, I put the Commander into the 5-man, the 3 boys into the 10-man. Fucking one-banged them. And I'm standing there with a Riptide, 2 Riptides and a Ghost Keel in the open, just like, huh. All right, well, cool. I guess that just fucking happened. And the funny thing was that Bren was like, it doesn't even matter that you stood them on that vision line. I can't get on that line with anything that can shoot you well in return. And 2, even if I step out, I maybe kill a Riptide, but more than likely not, unless I get like dev wounds on the rail cannon for the Hecatons. So I overkilled them like a motherfucker, and that's why Sean, we were talking after the match. He actually really didn't want me. I was a little bit surprised because we went into the factory down under 40k team. And in round 1, now this isn't showing teams properly. I think this is just a visual error. You have to reload and it does it properly. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So let's bring up Pantheon. Now, in this matchup, they gave me everything I wanted in pairings. Now, bear in mind, I haven't been to an event since I had my kid. Like, I should be rusty as fuck and making mistakes and whatever else. So the big thing that we were looking at is that we really wanted to guarantee the Orcs matchup into Thousand Suns or Death Guard. Now, I thought I was going to have to fight for it super hard. Orcs is the first thing they put down. I was like, wait, what? What? So Thousand Suns and Death Guard went down. Now, in that, I was kind of forcing the matchup because I knew that Tim knew that Feud was a good Death Guard player. -1 to hit everywhere, fucks Orcs super hard. He's super durable, so it's not like it's easy to take him down. He had a bunch of Hell Brutes, which meant that like the matchup was a little bit different from some of the other Virulent Vectorum. I knew that they wouldn't have prepared for it, and so we kind of forced him into Bren. Now, I don't know if Tim knows Bren or not. I don't think he did, because I think with this choice 100 other times, he would never pick this matchup again. This was our biggest green for Bren, and they handed it to us in the first set of pairings. Now, ones that I wasn't especially happy with, we didn't have an answer for Eldari, and I think this was pretty common for a few teams. Eldari at the moment is just such a fucking difficult matchup for basically everybody. That can turn off Overwatch. They have a ton of different tools. They have Fights First with the Banshees. They have the Fugan Brick for Fire Dragons. They have a 10-man Sweeping Hawks unit that comes up and down with Baharoth. Like, this list is just full of enough stuff that if you haven't tech to beat it, then you're probably going to have a bad time. Now, one thing that I will point out is that us going into this tournament, we took with us someone who, it was James's first ever event. Like, first ever event. And so, like, we were expecting him to kind of cop it. Pat's Imperial Knights are not in a particularly good place right now. Nick has been doing really, really well, but previous events, he would kind of only get like 0s, 1s, and 2s. And we've been developing him as a player. Now, I was super proud of him for going into this Space Marines list and getting a 5. Like that, I hope it doesn't come across as disingenuous, because I really mean this, that it was such a big moment that instead of getting 0s and having to, you know, try and keep his morale up and everything else, like him getting 5 was such a big difference, because especially if he had have not gotten these 5 points, I don't think we draw. I I think that, oh no, it wouldn't have changed anything. But like getting 5 extra points in a round can be the difference between a draw or a loss or a win in terms of teams. Because in order to get a win, I think you have to get 85 points, and we were so fucking close to taking them down. Like, there are a bunch of Team New South Wales players here. Dan Gash-Jones was the coach for Team New South Wales, came second last year. I think Damien's a previous Team New South Wales player. Greg was on the second Team New South Wales team. Tim was on it the year before that. Like, this was not a slouch of a team. We took 2 people that I knew were not going to do especially well, and unfortunately, I had to put the Death Guard into Eldari. This is the one matchup that I just couldn't get anything good, so I put my most reliable player into that position. Feud got 600 points of his army killed in the first turn, and still brought it back to a 10-10. I don't fucking know how. I don't know what black magic he did, but apparently he made a pact with an extraterrestrial being and got himself a 10-10. The big surprise here was Adam on his Stodes, and he was going to go on a very, very defensive list. It ended up being that Lions of the Emperor, I actually asked him to play on this, and he was like, yeah, cool, I've been playing that at singles for the last however long. He fucking killed it. He turned it into a 20-0 against World Eaters. Damien Ridgewell is a very, very good player. Very good player. And he was running the usual Berserker spam, Khan, Juggerlord, Slaughterbound, 20, 20, and 10 Khorne Berserkers, so 50 of them on the field. Exalted 8-bound, Jackals, Chaos Spawn, Chaos Rhino. Should be a difficult matchup because he's just got so many fucking attacks and surge moves and whatever else that he's got the tools to be able to deal with what Custodian's putting forward. But, like, Adam fucking crushed it. He absolutely crushed it. So this one, first round, really, really good. Really enjoyed playing against Sean, and the team did really, really well to bring that to a draw because on paper, with the number of brand new people that we had, this should have been a loss against a team that good. So, yeah. All right, round 2. We went into Mad Dicey. Now, this one was a surprise loss. I thought at worst we would take a draw, and in a good scenario, we would take a win. Now, there are a couple of reasons for that. James, I kind of knew would get like somewhere near 20-0'd. Joseph's really great on his Adeptus Sororitas. He's been playing them for the longest time. Obviously, Bren did his thing. I did my thing into Death Guard. Now, the Black Templars into Spooner apparently came down to like a singular turn where there was a flip of what would happen and it went either way, and obviously it went James's way on there. Nick got a 6 into a very difficult Death Watch list, which was really, really great for him. This one is just all like fucking infiltrates and a billion damage and whatever else. So, then Feud going into Orcs, this was supposed to be a good matchup. I don't know what happened on the table, but this one going this way was not great for us. Flano did his thing against Immortal Tau. I didn't expect Adam to go down, and that's what turned it, him and Feud are what turned it into a loss. Not blame on either of those two players, just the way that it worked out with pairings. We expected this one to go this way. We expected Nick's pairing to go this way. Obviously, I would have liked some more points from Pat, would have liked some more points from Feud and from Adam, and it would have turned around. Though Adam, in a tough matchup, again, he got Wheaties again. They had more Berserkers than the last one he ran into, and he still did well to keep it as a 7. But this one, unfortunate loss. My matchup into Death Guard, this game was a little bit weird. The player was very upset that he got paired into me, not just because it was Tau, but because it was me specifically. I guess his team had been talking about that I was a good Tau player, and he was very, very upset. Now, this one, I basically got to jail him and keep him in his deployment zone for almost the entire game. The thing that made this scoreline like this was that I didn't have a clock on me at this time, and stupidly, I didn't put him on the clock. Now, gonna have to follow up with this tournament. Good night, Brandon. Thanks for joining us, bud. I should have clocked him, and if I clocked him, it was a 20-0. because he would have clocked out super early, but he used up both of our time. And like, that's not to say that I was going super quick. Like, it would have been close towards the end, but we got to the end of the game, didn't want to talk out. He just wanted to end it where it was. I am a firm believer that if you don't want to be on the clock, then that's like, if I have a clock, I will put you on it. If we don't have a clock, then I want to talk out at the end, not just for my own benefit, but if the other person's winning, I don't want to rob them of something because we can't know who used up the most time. And it's really why it's like I've got some extra clocks that we got from prize support. I'm going to be making sure that every single one of my players and myself have a clock at every single event and put people on that clock. This should have been a 20-0. He was not touching objectives. He was not getting, like, he wasn't getting secondary points. I jailed him and was killing everything. It just perma-lost. How you doing, buddy? Does this chat just get 20% sexier? It's a little bit frustrating. He was fine to play. There was a moment where I had to pull him up where we had, and actually, you know what? I'm going to bring up, actually, will TTS help me here? You know what? I'll explain it out. Oh, you know what? We'll go huge and we'll use paint. We'll go huge and we'll use paint. So, I had, if I zoom in, we had, where's my rectangles? Okay, so it was Crucible for this one. So there was like, you know, fucking rectangle, like, wait, does it not let me fucking, how do I rotate this? Whatever. It doesn't really matter. So rectangle, stuff in the center, whatever. And I had, like, he'd lined up his Demon Prince to sit sort of like, actually, what's the best angle to explain this? He set it up like this. I put a Riptide in and moved it like this. Now, he was measuring out, and the line that he was measuring was this one to not be able to see. And I was like, yeah, cool, from this side, I won't be able to see anything. He didn't think about this side. And then when I moved up and said, yep, cool, I've got you, he goes, oh, okay, what's the line? I put down the laser line because he was always checking that I had line of sight, which I always did. And then he moves his model. He moves his model back. And I go, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, oh my God, yep, wrong screen, I need to display it. Let's just go back to this. Here we go. All right. So this is my Riptide. Apologies, everybody. I forgot that we had screen capture, not display capture. This is my Riptide. This is his Demon Prince. He checked this line, but not this line. He moves his model back like this way. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, oh, it was my intent that you couldn't get a line on him. And I'm like, yeah, you measured from here, but you didn't measure from here. So I've got you. It's like, oh yeah, and he'd already moved it, and I'm like, he's like, oh, I can move it back, and like, this is something that I hate, that like, people take these takebacks that I didn't offer, they move the model so we don't know exactly where it was to start with, and then like, moving in my shooting phase is like the most dick fucking move, honestly. Like, if you missed a line, play it as it lies. If you talk to me about intent and you measure both sides, I will never have a problem. He didn't measure this line. It like, and then I'm like, okay, whatever, fine, I can't shoot at him. I knew I was going to win, so it didn't really matter. So I let him keep it back there. Then I have behind a wall is a fucking rhino in here. And I know that this doesn't make sense for the board, but just hear me out. Then I get a unit of Pathfinders just here. We shoot the fuck out of a bunch of Poxwalkers just here. Get a kill for no prisoners. Cool. That's what allowed the Demon Prince to get shot. I think he was having, like, he pushed the model because he was having a meltdown that he didn't see that just because you're within 3 inches of the Poxwalkers, Pathfinders moved up, shot the fuck out of them, had sustained hits for a CP. Cool. Good to go. Which allowed the Riptide to shoot him. Whatever. Pathfinders charge the rhino in here. I move my models, and I don't verbally say out loud that I want to be outside of heroic intervention range. He goes, yep, cool, I'm going to heroic you. I go, I was meaning to have them out of there. I sort of loosely measured it. I was rushing a little bit. Yeah. And he's like, okay, cool. And then he rolls the charge and he goes in. I let the play go out. One Pathfinder lived in here. Tied up the Rhino as well as a Pred Annihilator, Pred Destructor. I think it was a Destructor over the back here. Kept these two vehicles from moving. Just one little Pathfinder. Or was it two of them? I think it was two of them. So it didn't matter. But I brought up to him afterwards, hey, if you take a takeback as massive as a Demon Prince moving in my shooting phase after I've killed off your Poxwalkers and you don't have your lone op anymore, if you do that, the least you can do is go, oh yeah, cool, you're meant to be outside of 6 for heroic intervention. That's fine, man. Just move the model across. The fact that you took a monstrous game-changing takeback and then heroic intervened without like a warning or whatever else, and bear in mind, I'd been giving him warnings about everything. Hey, if you stand there, I'll be able to shoot you. Hey, like if I go up here, here's a base, here's whatever. This is where I can get the Riptide, this can blah, 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 because you've stated to me an intent of blah, 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 whatever. Like I play a very, very above board, friendly, and like in my view, competitive is not that I'm trying to take shit away from my opponent. It's that if I can beat you, it's because you knew all your choices, you knew what I could do and what you could do, and you made choices that led to either a victory or a loss. So I play very above board competitive 40k, which means that I get universal feedback from people that I play with that like that game was just so fucking simple and easy. Like it was stress free, it was whatever, and that is what I fucking love to hear back. But in that, if an opponent starts taking takebacks and doesn't offer one to me, I'm like, okay, what are we doing here, man? Like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. This is not a one-way fucking street. And then we get to the end of the game and he's like, nah, we didn't clock, but like, we're just going to end it where it is. He would have actually probably scored more points, but I think he saw that he had a 4 and he was like, I'm just going to do that. Now, to his credit, he was actually really good in allowing a burn because I didn't know, we were doing Scorched Earth. I didn't know that he was just going to say, nah, we're going to fucking end it. I had a set of units that were dominating an objective he was never going to get to. And I'm like, well, I would have just started burning that if I knew it was going to end. And he was like, yeah, cool. No problem, man. And so that was really, really good of him. This one though, it just like, there were a couple of things through the game as well where like he sort of was second guessing every line of sight, every rule that I had, every whatever, and not trying to be prickly. Absolutely not. But you could tell that like maybe it was inexperience, maybe it was nerves, maybe it was whatever. It just, aside from not being on the clock and that, you know, adding some extra stress because I know that I play to the clock, it just added extra elements that I didn't walk away from the game feeling good. I just walked away feeling kind of beige, you know? But yeah, so winning to Death Guard, which was really, really good. Then we go into round number 3. And we went into Orbital Thunder. This one was a big win for our team, 111 points. Feud got up big with 17. Flano held. Now, Sam Yong, you might have even been able to see from placings. He was, I think, above me. Sam Yong, where were you? Yeah, just here. So his lowest score was against Flano. And going into this, all we said to Flano was just hold. Just if you, we know it's not a great matchup for you, but if you can just hold him, then we can get it up. T-Heat, get it up. So really, really happy with Flano keeping this at a 7-13, especially for a player this strong. James got his first win in, which we were really proud of him for. Adam crushed it in Grey Knights. Now, Jake, at the end of our game, said, going into you, I was just happy I got 3 points. All I wanted was just to not be 20-0'd. What I'm going to do is just go back to our browser view so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see. So I was a bit surprised by that, but he got jailed for basically the entire game. Like he was near tabling me towards the end because Votann have a shitload of shots. They have stuff to bypass my my defensive layers, but he wasn't playing the detachment where he can drive hecatons through walls, and he did put a hecaton behind a wall because I think he expected me to be more aggressive. He could jump out the Thunderkin and then smash me up, but I just never ended up falling for the bait. And he was just happy to get 3 points. Nick got a big win into Anne's Custodes, which I was very proud of him for. Bren obviously did his thing because, yep. And Pat had a rough round, Chaos Demons, going into that. I think the Demons list was the Bellacore little fucking thing of you can't touch me. And yeah, just a shitload of blood crushes and everything else. But for the team, really, really great round. This one, I don't know that there's much to kind of go through this. This was your very, very classical jail your opponent with layers of bodies. I had my Pathfinder unit, because I went first, charged his Hecaton, and Jake incorrectly estimated that was it wasn't going to affect the game. He was like, I can see your Riptide and shoot it. Which he did pick up a Riptide in one activation because I rolled fucking ones on my armor saves, on my invuln saves, which what are you going to do? It's just Jay's luck. And then I put another Riptide out and he got to shoot at that and whatever. But what I think he missed is that if I am able to stop the Hecatons from moving, they were his only speed. He didn't have bikes. Everything else was footbound. So I didn't care that that Pathfinder unit locked down a Hecaton for 2.5 full turns. It was enormous, absolutely enormous. And so layered movement control is how you beat things like Votann. You need to be sacrificing units in the right way, in the right order, and doing so that they don't get to touch objectives, which means you put a metric fuck ton of pressure down on them. Now, obviously, Jake was like, going into this, I knew I wasn't going to win. I was going to get skill diffed. I just didn't want to get 20-0'd. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, and in the most genuine way, not in like a shit-eating whatever. Like, Jake is a wonderful, wonderful person. I always enjoy interacting with him. I think one of his first events was actually one of mine. And now he's running his own events. And yeah, just really, really lovely dude. Finishing the day off with this as my matchup was just such a wonderful palate cleanser after the last matchup, which again, like, he wasn't trying to be prickly or anything else. There were just a few things that happened that lined it up that way. This was really great just to have a fucking wonderful game against a great human being. Yeah, so then we go into the downward spiral. We, for whatever reason, the pairings put us multi-brackets above where we should have been because the pairings were done based on team wins, as in like each individual player, and not BP as like there are other metrics you can use to make it a little bit better. So we end up pairing into team ACT, which like we were draw, loss, win. How the fuck does that happen? Anyway, so this is where my 0 happened. This was the most soul-crushing game of my life. I drew dead secondaries 3 turns in a row. Shooting phases, I saw nothing but 1s and 2s. Saves, I saw nothing but 1s and 2s. Like, I had Riptides getting 1 banged, Ghost Kills getting 1 banged, and the worst thing of all, my turn 2, he shadows in the wall. You know what? I'm going to throw it out to you guys. I want you guys to guess, out of my, how many units did I have in my list? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is part of the commander. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Out of my 17 units, I want you guys to guess how many units. Actually, you know what? I'll put up a poll. Let's do a poll. How many units do you think I lost in, failed their battle shock in Shadow of the War? Let's put a poll up. So, let's go 10, Let's go 13. Add option. Let's go 15. And let's go 17. Start poll. You can see a poll that says shadow failures. Get your votes in. You put my poll up? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. All right, we've already got a couple of votes jumping out straight ahead. Oh, 13 and 15 are neck and neck. Get your votes in, get your votes in, get your votes in. I already know the answer. Oh, yep. Yep. Oh, Pat's coming big with the 17. Jay's loving this too much. Well, you know what? I have to laugh because otherwise Jay is going to something. All right, I'll give you guys 10 seconds to get your answers in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are ending the poll. Whoever guessed 15, you are right. 15 out of 17 units failed their battle shock. I would love it if the story was 17. I really, really would. I did have 2 units that passed their battle shock. Only 2 of them were at minuses from the Neurolictors or the Lictors or whatever they were. Were the other 2 off the board? One of them was a Vespid unit. 15 units on a 7 failed a battle shock. I had an Ethereal and a Vespid unit that passed. I had no guiding, or basically no guiding. I couldn't use stratagems on anyone. I couldn't Overwatch. I couldn't heal. I couldn't -1 to wound. I couldn't do anything. That's some J rolling there. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. When I tell people that I am fucking cursed and I do not know how I win events, this is the shit I'm talking about. I will very often have below average dice to the point where my opponents can do nothing but commiserate with me. That Ethereal's face watching the whole army's morale crumbling around. Yeah, that shit could like write a book. Like that is an Ethereal watching the greater good leave every single fucking person. So, dead secondaries, couldn't shoot to save my life, couldn't save to fucking save my life. Like Rowan is an excellent player. I would have been hard pressed to even hold him at a 10-10 if stuff went normal. And everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I had units of his Raveners live on like 1 or 2 models, even with my terrible fucking shooting. And there was some mispositioning from me, but not enough mispositioning that it was undoable. But, I mean, when you're playing against this NIDS list was also what Alex and Glezos was running. So, obviously, it's a very good list. So we're running Invasion Fleet. He picked lethal hits for his army, obviously. Death Leaper Swarmlord, Hyper-Adaptive Raveners, Winged Hive Tyrant, 2 units of 10 Hormigants, Biovore, Lictor, Neurolictor these nuts, 2 units of 5 Raveners, and 2 Maleceptors. Which you look at, might not look like much, but half the army is Lonop, 12. Just keeps and the Maleceptors -1 to hit when you're within 6 of them. If you're below half, -1 to wound. Bunch of stacking things if they're in Synapse, which they usually always were. +1 strength to all of their melee weapons. And then Shadow in the Warp, one of the best army rules in the fucking game. It was brutal. But even in a brutal game, Rowan was an absolute fucking champion of an opponent. Everything was simple and easy. It was done by intent. He warned me of certain things, and I tried to do the same in return. And towards the end of the day, because missing parts of my spine, I'm in a lot of pain. I was on maximum painkillers, whatever. I would even forget little bits and pieces, and he would go, "Oh, hey, don't forget about this." So he was a fucking champion of an opponent and deserved this win more than anything. And then the rest of the team, rough round. Adam got a great win into Black Templars. Pat into Tim Zuba, Big win, 14-6. So really, really proud of those two. And obviously, Bren did his thing into the Orcs, which once again, they gave us Orcs. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why. 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 Yeah. So yeah. And then we go into round 5 where we paired up 2 brackets. There is no world where we should have versed in a West Hammer here. There is no world where after being 2 losses down, we go into a team with 2 draws and 2 wins. Oh no, sorry. 2 draws, a loss and a win. They in the placings were so far above us. We should have versed in a West Hammer Electric Boogaloo 2, which was their off team. James unfortunately got 20-0'd. Flano had a rough game in Custodes. Feud went down 19-1 to Alex and Glezos, which no surprise there. Adam whiffed on his go turn and Josh just took it away from there. Both of them walked over to the table and they were like, it came down to one turn, he whiffed and I just took it. What do you do? Bren desperately wanted to go into gym and they gave it to us, which we were actually doing a thing because at this point, Bren and Alex were neck and neck in terms of points. They were monsters of their teams. We did do a handshake agreement that they were going to play each other. Alex didn't hear that the terms of the agreement was that everybody else takes a 10-10 and the result of our round comes down to Bren and Alex. Now, Alex reneged on that. I want that to be very publicly known. We were down for it. Alex reneged, and it was one of his players. It was actually Josh Hines, who, lovely person. If anybody hasn't met Josh or is around the New South Wales scene, hasn't been able to play him, Josh is a fucking champion himself as well. He was the one who was like, why are we doing this? The only matchup that matters is those two. And I was like, all right, cool. We handshook on it. Alex reneged. Fucking clip that if you like and send it to him. But then we ended up getting him into the Space Marines list, which Jim just got the worst matchup of his life. Admech into Nick. Nick did well to keep it at 4. Pat into Eldari. This was always going to be a very rough matchup. This is Eldari just such a fucking boogeyman right now, especially in teams, because when Eldari can guarantee their matchup, it really makes it difficult to know where they're going to be put down in the team's order and what you're able to do back. And Necron's not popular where you are. I see a lot of people using Necron's first defender over here in the USA. So we actually did have the previous captain of Team Australia. He was running Necrons, and actually should be in player placings near to the top. So Liam Hackett did very, very well on his crons. I think he only got 1 loss. Yeah, there he is. So getting a 20, 15, 18, 4, and 20. He was running basically the same list that he ran against me at the start of the edition when I was on Thousand Suns. That list is wrote in 2023, which is absolutely correct. Awakened Dynasty, Catacomb Command Barge, Chrono, Catan, Nightbringer, Illuminor Xeris, Orican the Diviner, Psycho, Royal Warden, and Transcendent Catan, 220 bricks of Necrons, a Ghost Arc, Canoptic Reanimator, 2 units of Crypto Thralls. This is leaning on the Warriors to be able to do their thing, string out across objectives, be ridiculously hard to remove, but crons aren't in the most popular state over here right now, to be honest. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that there's not a ton here, but you'll also find that in the US, because you have such a population advantage over us, you're naturally going to have more of each faction. So I don't know if that plays a role, but yeah. Yeah, you just blunt and say Liard. Yeah, that's what the list is designed to do. It's just meant for people just to face check into it and lose. So yeah, now let's talk about my matchup. This was a frustrating game for me. Now, obviously, he had a great time because he said afterwards, I forgot how fun 40k can be playing against a player like yourself. I went and spoke to his captain, which was Jim. And Jim, previous patron of mine, really, really great. He, I think, emigrated from the UK and has just sort of entered the tournament scene as of I think a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now. And just such a fucking lovely dude. His sons come to events. I think one of his sons was actually walking around with a clipboard, keeping track of how people's turns were going, keeping stuff in. Really, really lovely boys. So there are a couple of issues here. The first one is that he was not particularly outspoken. So there were a bunch of times where he was rolling dice where I had no... My boyfriend wants to know why you're so orange. Okay, so I addressed this at the start of the stream. For some reason, my camera has like fucked up the green screen filter. So I've had to fuck with it so that you don't have like a bunch of haze right here and it like mucks up the picture. Unfortunately, that means I look like Donald Trump. So, you know, you could say I'm doing it as a satire, you know, because he belongs in the 40K universe. But really the short answer is that like, this is the best I can do with a little bit of time. And I've got to spend some time, like fucking with my settings in order to get back to the way it was. That's the long and the short of it. Anyway, back to this. So, we went on the clock, and he said at the start, like, oh, you know, happy to go on the clock. You know, if we both ran out of time at the end of it, we could just like talk it out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fair. For my mind, if we don't go on the clock, we talk out afterwards. If we do go on the clock, which I would prefer, we stick to the clock. And, you know, once we're done, we're done. If there's easy stuff, then I don't mind giving little concessions at the end of the game, but like we'll play the clock. We get to the end of the game. He clocks out. I've got 11 minutes left. I am fucking smashing him. Absolutely smashing him. Like he has almost nothing on the board left and I'm set for a 20-0. He then starts into a little bit of a, I don't know if tantrum's too strong of a word, or if it's like a little bit of a crash out about, oh, no, I said at the start of the game that like we'd be on the clock, but we still talk it out and we whatever. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, hang on. The clock isn't like, because he said, oh, I just use it as like a, you know, a personal thing so that I know I'm playing on time and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the clock isn't there for you to personally monitor yourself and then go, we're going to play on the clock, but also we're just going to talk out afterwards. And that's an optional thing that whatever. If we go on the clock and you run out of time, that's it, dude. Like, you've clocked. And this is something that New South Wales has not been great at. They're getting better, and they're putting a focus on discipline with the clock, and most importantly, attitude around the clock. Like, there was actually an event which Alex was running, CrootCon, where I was on Wolf Jail before the Codex. I was set for a 5-0 run and to win the entire thing. I run into another Space Wolves player who I'm not going to name. And I could actually be seen in the background of stream after this player had clocked out and was trying to bully me into giving them more time. Ended up with a very regrettable decision from Alex where we both just ended up copping a fucking draw and it ruined my chances of winning the entire thing. And I'd won. He clocked and I'd won. And he wouldn't let it go. And then I see the same thing again here where player clocks. I've been managing the time correctly. We both know. Actually, I gave him a couple of minutes on my clock to roll out some of his attacks or whatever. But I was like, whatever, I'm going to win this. And I got 11 minutes left. Like, who gives a shit? 11 minutes to play out of turn 5 is more than you could ever possibly fucking need. And I was bottom of turn. So... yeah, and so that was very frustrating. And during the game, there were a lot of times where I would have to re-explain stuff because, like, you wouldn't believe it, or I'd show with a laser line my lines of sight and whatever, and he'd question it and whatever. There was even a point where I moved a broadside, measured from the back of the base to clear a wall, and then from that same point of the base measured forward. So I knew exactly where he needed to be. And then he moves my model back. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing touching my shit? And then measures it out and puts it there. And I'm like, it's in the same fucking place. It's literally in the same fucking spot. And obviously not with that sort of impetus on it, because I try to be friendly at the table all the time. But I was so frustrated internally. And he's like, oh, just because like you... And I'm like, no, I see what you're saying. You want me to measure back of base and then back of base forward, but I don't need to do that. If I measure back of base and then from that exact same point in the model, that point of the model is in the same place that the back of the base would be because there's no wall to clear. It's just moving straight forward. There's no reason to measure back of the base after you've cleared the wall. Like, it was so fucking frustrating to like have a mumbler and someone who was like a bit prickly. And then I have a shooting phase where he put a shitload of stuff out in the open. Now, do any of you know what happens when you put a bunch of stuff out in the open against Tau? Anyone? If anyone answered, it fucking dies, then yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do very well. I'm in the middle of my shooting phase and he's just so fucking dour and sad and making these little comments. And so I've fed back to Jim that like, I shouldn't be made to feel bad about the faction that I play when they put everything in the open and then I have a shooting phase where I kill stuff. Like, sportsmanship should dictate that you still maintain a certain amount of proprietary in those moments and have some fucking sportsmanship. Be gracious in victory or defeat. And it just like, I walked away from that game and I was just so fucking frustrated. I even went over to Alex and I'm like, hey, like, I just copped a fucking 13-7 because we got to the end and like, you know, at the moment, I'm diagnosed with PTSD. I don't want to be fucking fighting people and whatever else. Like, I just want shit to be relatively smooth. And it's the end of day 2. I'm in a monstrous amount of pain. I forgot to take my painkillers at lunch as well, so I was on a half dose. And I just didn't have it in me. It was already going to be a win. I knew it wasn't really going to change. I don't think 7 points changed the course of the round, no. So I was just like, fucking whatever. But this should have been 20-0. Like, I had this guy fucking dominate, and Alex was like, yeah, you were going to fucking smash him. We all knew it as soon as you picked Adeptus Sororitas. I'm like, yeah, I wanted that matchup. And it just, like, I love competitive 40Ks so much. And people have to grow and learn and develop, and the scene needs to set its own standards and culture and whatever. But I have had to be a part of that process and all of the shitty things that people do throughout the course of playing in New South Wales. And there have been a lot of things that I have been a key player in adjusting or at least getting a conversation started about whether we're happy with that shit happening. Especially in like the TO chat that we've got for all of the boys. But it just like, it is so fucking, it beats you down a little bit when you constantly have to be that person who's letting people make their mistakes, get their shit out, treat you like shit, and then try and like fix the behavior. It just, yeah. Though luckily there were 3 out of my 5 rounds were excellent. One of them was so-so, and this one was just frustrating. I just, yeah. It sucks. It didn't change anything. Like, the team had a rough round. But yeah, it is what it is. But one thing that I can say in this matchup is that Sisters do not do well against this list. Castigators are all AP1. The autocannons don't ignore cover, and he doesn't have anything in there that allows him to ignore cover. So the Castigators may as well not exist. The Sacrosants you kill super easily because with the Feel No Pain and 2 damage everywhere, they just die because they have to make 2 or 3 or 4 Feel No Pains. Paragon Warsuits, I played around incredibly easily. The Retributors, they came on the field and got a kill from Strategic Reserve, but then they did nothing and sat in the corner of the field. Sanctifiers did very little. The Flamers don't do much against me. He also targeted the Stealth Suits rather than Pathfinders. So a single Stealth Suit lived and he missed out on no prisoners and overwhelming force in the same turn. So yeah, this list wasn't anything to worry about. But yeah, so that was my tournament run. I think I sort of went through my recommendation for where the list is going to end up, going for more screening pieces, or if you don't go that direction, going for some Flamicides, because then you've got another marker-like guiding unit, you've got a great Overwatch threat, 18-inch Flamers are just fucking ridiculous, and they don't need strat support because they can't get sustained or lethal hits, but they can do the Strength and AP, which then pushes Strength 5 AP2 Flamers, which could be really, really, really good, especially for clearing out things like, you know, you look at the list that I ran into here, Hormagaunts do not want to see that you can Overwatch them and easily lift the unit. Easily lift it. Sometimes you just want to be able to play a game event without needing to be an educator or make concessions to teach lessons or provide advice. That's probably the biggest thing that I've found, is that like it's already hard for me to switch off my coach brain because my entire 40K business is built around coaching people. Like, yeah, the YouTube and everything is great and is one of the mechanisms for creating that. But like my Pantheon tier and my Chasso tier patrons, I'm coaching them regularly. I've got people that like buy packs off the website and that sort of stuff. And it's been really, really great. And so when I'm in a game, it's actually kind of hard to turn that off because I see a teaching moment. And especially if they're like a newer player or there's somebody who's still finding their feet and I know that I'm just skill diffing them, it's hard for me not to teach that person and help them grow and whatever. It's easier to do that when the person's a great person, but then you run into people where you've got to micromanage their movement because they're moving too far. You've got to micromanage their line of sight, their strat usage, their CP, economy, like everything they fucking do is just an ordeal. And then don't get me started on fucking charge phase, pile-ins, fight phase, ordering, and if you can base your master and movement and blah, 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 blah. So much stuff that people get wrong. It makes it fucking exhausting because I'm not just playing my game, I'm playing yours as well. And it just, yeah. Taught me a lot and I can understand the feeling disappointed in decisions and plays in the moment. Sometimes it's just a bit rough on yourself and making comments is just what happens. But like keep it to yourself or at least try to make those comments on a positive nature and constructive instead of complaining. Well, like you look at my match against Rowan, I had everything that was going wrong. And there wasn't a moment where I made it Rowan's problem. If anything, like he was rolling his feel no pains and whatever else. And I was like, oh my God, Rowan, don't do it to me. And we were having a laugh. And like even other tables were looking over and coming and having a watch and whatever else. Like even when I'm getting my shit absolutely kicked in, it's important to me that the other person is playing a competitive game and is enjoying themselves because that's the nature of a fucking dice game. That's how it goes. And even in a competitive setting, you don't expect to win every single game. Nobody should go to an event being like, I will only be okay with a 5-0 or I'll only be okay with an 8-0. Like that's just not how the game fucking works. You expect to take losses because a well-balanced game means that sometimes you'll get up, sometimes you'll get down. Nature of it. But yeah. Thoughts on this list? As in like the one I played, this one? Or was that for a comment when I had one of the other lists up, like the Sisters or the Nids or something? It's hilarious to me that I have to teach people how the fight phase works with Tau play. Yeah. And misplaying the fight phase gives people a lot of accidental power. A lot. There is so much extra movement that you can get in the fight phase that if somebody's misplaying it, they get so much more than they should ever have. And it's important to know. But yeah, just picturing, here's my list. Tell me how it works out. I'm going to grab lunch. Posted a pace bin list. Let me have a look. I don't see anything. Any of my mods, can you see if YouTube automatically grabbed it? Because I can't see a pace bin list. But yeah, so that was my event. Overall, really, really great. It was good going to an event where we had like this honestly was a who's who of some of the biggest names in Australian 40K. For example, let me go down to, so like obviously this is basically Team New South Wales. We had Alex Inglezos, Jim Calverley, Josh Hines. We had as well the team ACT, almost in its entirety with two teams. We had like Arian Fanon, who's really, really good from Chadmac, Nathan Princey, Tay, Woody, who was the Space Wolves player I mentioned before, who's actually cleaned up quite a lot. Zach Futura, who's the current captain of Team New South Wales, is going to, I think, have a really, really good run. He's a really great bloke. Then we had like Jordan Dutchatal has been killing it. Josh Brody's on team. He was a previous Team Australia. I think he's going for Team New South Wales as well. Dan Sherry's been on a fucking tear lately. Actually, both the Dutchatals, Ryan and Jordan, have been absolutely killing it lately. Then we also had, where was the other one? So this is Team Victoria. So you had like Matt Morrisoli, which people will recognize from LVO, had a massive run into the final round. This is not Reese. I'm assuming this is Reese Cunningham. But anyway. And then you've got like Dale Mann, Hewitt Searle, Andrew Martin, Aaron Warren, Alex Terrison, Brody Middleton, Eric Latharus, fucking Josh Woods, Dave Kerr, like Ben Warrior, Brian Lakeland, Denise Lee. I always mispronounce this, Leah Nagama, who's, by the way, previous Tau player. I don't know why he's not on Tau, but, you know, it makes sense if you'd want to take a break. Liam Hackett, previous captain of Team New South Wales. Obviously, the Pantheon superstars, every single one of them. So, like, this was a monstrous event for Australian 40K. Like, it didn't have every big name. Like, I think at this point, Hayden Walduck was still in the US, or maybe he'd only just gotten home and wouldn't want to go from, like, the WCW to a Teams event. Maybe he wouldn't have played in this at all. I don't know. But, like, this was a fucking monstrous event. It actually was. But, yeah. Is Jay going to the part where his dice betrayed him after I prayed for it really hard? The 15 out of 7 Battleshock one? Oh, yeah, we did, Bill. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Would you paste or try it in this chat? Didn't see. Yeah, I don't see a Pastebin link. Better place to put that is probably the Twitch chat. Because Twitch chat, I don't think catches links as fast as YouTube does. And normally I actually don't really have links getting posted. Because you never know, like, you can have bots come in that just starts posting a bunch of fucking porn links and shit. So usually it's better that we know what's coming, or somebody asks, hey, can I post a link in here? But yeah. All right, let's have a look at this. All right, so let's zoom in so everybody else can see, and let's roast this list. All right, so Tau Empire, perfect 2,000 points. Cold Star, Plasma Accelerator, Cyclic Double Missile Pod, Commander and Enforcer with Thermoneutronics, Cyclic, Flamers, Flamer, okay. Crew Carnivore Squad, Pathfinders without war gear. So, okay, well, that'd be my first roast is get some war gear on your Pathfinders. I'm assuming it's Recon and then Grav Inhibitor with Ions. 2 stealth suits, double Vespid, broadside with Rail Seeker twin plasma missiles. Yep. Fire Knife team and Star Scythe team, missiles and flamers respectively. Single Ghost Kill, triple Riptide. Yeah, once you get war gear onto your Pathfinders, this is a perfectly serviceable list. This actually, I would be pretty happy to run this. The only thing that I would say is that the Enforcer, I'm not always super happy with, especially with something like the Thermoneutronic, which has a lower range. You probably want that on the Cold Star. One of the big things that I found with my single Crisis unit was that people had to play around it so ridiculously hard, and it was harder to play around because of Assault. 12-inch move and Assault is so much harder to screen against and not... I just noticed that there's like, you guys can't really see it, but like, look at what's on Pastebin on off to the right. Did you hear the Games Workshop announce a remaster of Warhammer 1 to 39,999? I'm assuming that's a meme. 40,000 is current, doesn't need a remaster. I'm going to assume that's a meme. If it isn't, then all right. If it is a meme, then it's not a bad one. There's just a bunch of fucking like instant money, earn 5,000 a week. There's a bunch of people trying to scam people out here. But yeah, so one of the things that I found with the Crisis team is that if your opponent can screen against it, then they will. You would almost be opting into the Enforcer Commander absolutely being a deep strike threat with this sort of thing. The Cold Star being down here. The Plasma Accelerator, I would get you to reconsider. I would actually go for the Fusion. Now, the reason for that is that, yes, you lose 6 inches of range, but I never found 18 inches to be a problem. Never found 18 inches to be a problem. And having the Melter 4 for 2 shots is such a fuck around and find out weapon. Now, the question then becomes like, why that over the Plasma Accelerator? Plasma Accelerator is perfectly serviceable. You've got rerolls to hit. You've got like a damage 4 weapon. It's still good, but your Riptide's already taken care of your damage 4. The extra fusion, because you're running 1 Ghost Keel, makes up for the lack of fusion and allows the commander to split fire quite happily and potentially be able to pick up an entire vehicle. It is very, 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 very powerful. But it's for personal preference. I actually don't especially care. Although, having said that, your points would be sitting at not being able to take the fusion. So I guess that actually makes sense. I mean, the plasma accelerator is absolutely fine. I think because of the points constraints, it's just a silly joke. They would do it though. Do you know what? Absolutely 100%. In a world where like every fucking movie or TV show is just a reboot and it feels like everybody is just like devoid of creativity and new ideas. Yeah, I could actually fucking see that. What about a Tidewall list? Do you know, funnily enough, I've got a Gong Hammer that I'm probably going to be buying in for later today, or at least contacting Scotty and be like, hey, can I send you the money for this once we get paid? If he allows me to take Tidewalls, I think fortifications are banned. There is a part of me that wants to do it for Pagan. Like, Pagan has been maybe my longest time supporter. There is a part of me that wants to take a full Oxcad Tidewall list with gorillas and breaches and whatever, and just like run that shit into people's face. It just, yeah. So there's been recon and grab. Yeah, I figured they would be. Did they have points, couldn't find a way to fit the blades in there? Yeah, that makes sense. If you want to have a very stupid meme list, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do roast my list. Send it. I was already told people would hate me for it, and it's super simple. Yeah, fair enough. Jail you with fortifications. See, the thing is, like, if you can get them up, and this is, like, for anybody who's curious, the reason why I didn't say Montcar. Let's go to Waha Padaya. Now, in the Waha Padaya, there are 2 big distinguishing factors that make Tidewalls work in Oxcad, but not in Montcar. Now, Montcar has the Scout move enhancement, which does make it good. And then they get lethal hits and all that sort of stuff. The big problem is that they do not get access to Assault. Now, the reason for that is specifically in the wording. If we look at Montcar, detachment rule, ranged weapons equipped by Tau Empire models in your army have the Assault ability. The Tidewall is not equipped with ranged weapons. When it activates, when it's eligible to shoot, it picks ranged weapons inside it to then be equipped with. The wording on this precludes them from getting the Assault ability, which makes me so fucking sad. Oh, wait, no, they can't get lethal hits because it's while the unit is guided, and they can't be guided because they don't have for the greater good. However, if I go to Oxcad and I look at stratagems, and we do, Alien Expertise? Your movement phase, 1 Tau Empire unit, till the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it advanced. That gives one of your platforms advance and shoot every single turn. And then if we look at you make up, like, say, 2 Tidewalls and then 2 drone ports. The drone ports have assault weapons already, which means your firing deck, they're firing these as well as the weapons inside, and these guys get to fire at everybody that's an eligible target, which is a lot of shooting. It's honestly a lot of shooting. There is a part of me that wonders if I would be able to make this work in something like the fucking experimental Carter. Unfortunately, it only applies to battle suits, so a lot of the best stratagems for defense aren't something they can use. And the offensive stratagems are great. Honestly, they are. Like, getting sustained and lethal hits and then, rolling 11 dice and taking mortal wounds, whatever. Like, it is what it is. But yeah. If you're sticking a list in, I'm not seeing one. Make sure you do it in Twitch. I think YouTube is absorbing them and it's not giving me the mod tools to be able to see it. Let me go community moderation. Why do I have to go to a brand new fucking... No, I don't want to change my settings. What the fuck? Oh, YouTube, just do moderation better. Jesus Christ. All right, and it hadn't been showing moderation activity. Fuck yeah. Okay, so the list is 1 Primaris Ancient, 6x10 heavy intercessors, including 2 heavy bolters each, 3 Indominate kill teams, 10 heavy intercessors with bolt rifles, 2 heavy bolters. What's the detachment? What's your like your actual army that you're running? Obviously it's Marines, but there's a bunch of different flavors you can put this in. Works so I can't mod YouTube. No, that's fine, Bill. That's fine. I've turned on moderation actions. I think that's what's catching it. But yeah, okay. So in Deathwatch, the heavy intercessors are really like, this is actually something that Alex and I talked about like a year and a half ago or something. Heavy intercessors are actually a really interesting unit. Russia, would you mind, like, stop trying to undermine US elections and fucking get shit up on screen? Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go. We'll go into Deathwatch. I don't think it matters. They're the same in whatever. And let's go the Battle Line Heavy Intercessor Squad. Now, what makes these guys any good to throw into a list? There's a couple of reasons. First off, obviously the heavy bolter is great, and it's hitting on 3s with heavies, so they can get it to hitting on 2s. Sustained hits 1 on it. Their heavy bolt rifles are all damage 2, with assault and heavy at 30 inches, strength 5, AP1, damage 2. Doesn't this look like something that, I don't know, Strike Team could benefit from? Don't you think the Bugs Bunny would love to see Strike Teams with this? Yes, I did steal that from you, Blade. They have infantry, battle line, grenades, Imperium, Gravis, and heavy intercessor squad. But the big thing, while this unit's within range of an objective marker you control, each time an attack with damage 1 is allocated to the model, add 120 armor saving throws made against that attack. That bypasses the a 3-up armor save can't be improved. They get a 2-up at T6 with 3 wounds. These guys, for 200 points a pop, you take, how many units was it? It was 6 of them. So 6x10 is, fuck, why is my brain shutting down? 1,200 points. 1,200 points, and then you fill in the rest with all the other stuff you need. If I remember correctly, you did have some support for them. It was the 3 Indominate kill teams, 10 heavy intercessors with bolt rifles and 2 heavy bolters, and 1 Primaris Ancient for the character. Yeah, so you've got units that are very easily able to go on standard objectives, shitload of OC because they're OC 2 each. They're only 5-inch move, but in the first turn, you like custodies. You're probably just going to advance onto objectives. They only have close combat weapons, no chainswords, which I think is a little bit sad. I think they could have, for the points you're paying, I think chainswords would be perfectly fine on these guys. But a shitload of massed damage 2 shooting is like, they're just Marine killers. They're counter Marine killers. And the Marines don't even kill them well in return because it's T6 3 wounds. With -1 if they throw any damage 1 at you and you're saving on 2s. They basically give Marines the ability to custodies. And then I'm assuming the Indominate kill teams are the ones you can like fucking uppy downy and shit. Indominate kill team, let's have a look. And so these guys are just a metric fuck ton of damage. T6 as well, 3 wounds, 3 to 10 kill team heavy intercessors, and you've got, heavy bolters, blah, 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 blah. Each time this model in a unit makes a ranged attack target's closest eligible, or makes a melee attack in a turn in which it charged, improve the strength by 2, which means that their Deathwatch heavy bolt rifles, which I'm assuming is what they're all equipped with. Each heavy intercessor is bolt pistol, Deathwatch heavy bolt rifle, yep. Goes to what? Strength 7, AP2, damage 2. And then your Deathwatch heavy bolters are strength 7 as well. Which is it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. I've been robbed. You're welcome. You're welcome. This looks like my Necron's Immortals weapons with more toughness, 3 wounds each, more damage, and better keywords. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So, I honestly, I think it can be a meme territory, but if we... Oh, their bolter is also damage 3. That's fucking huge. So what I will say is that it's only a meme until you construct it, and then go 4-1 in an event with it, or better. Like, that's what move it out of meme territory. And I'm not saying that for any particular reason. I'm not saying that a particular beautiful Cyclopean man recently did that at a massive teams tournament, and he's sitting here with a smug grin, having a shit-eating drink out of his cup. But it's only a meme until you prove people wrong. And this I think is something that I want people to look at, that people often worry about their list rather than the fundamentals of the game. And that's what makes people good or bad players. I've often joked that I could take almost any Tau list, even without a detachment rule, and I could probably get results out of it. And I stand by that. Because I understand move blocking. Because I understand spacing and trading and all of that sort of stuff that allows me to jump onto any of this. Like, you look at, I jumped onto Space Wolves, Wolf Jail, had only played shooting armies, got like one practice game in on it, and then went and won 2 events. And the reason for that is because I actually invested in understanding charging and the fight phase and all that stuff. And then all of my move blocking practice with Tau that was made of paper. Now all of a sudden I've got these T6 bodies, 4 wounds, 4 up invul, -1 to hit, -1 to wound, all like AOC, all of this shit. And I'm like, how the fuck have I been playing the game on hard mode when I can just do this to people all the time? So I would say, if you've got a list that you love, put time and effort into it, and don't take your first few results as an indicator of whether the list is good or not if you are still finding your feet as a competitive player. You winning or losing on a list should not be the marker of whether the list is good until you are a good enough player that you know that you can pick up pretty much anything and do well with it. Or at least do moderately well. That's when you start looking at your list and you're like, all right, I'm going into my peers. I'm going to be pairing people round 4, round 5, whatever, that are going to be at the top of their game. I need a dialed in list to do very well. And that's when you start adjusting the list. Yeah. How do you know when you should try to jail people as Tau versus playing a screening game? It's one thing I struggle with. So that one's a very, very interesting one. It usually comes down to matchups. Let's open TTS, and I'm like, I'm probably going to step on my own toes from, like, you know, because this is what I do in coaching. This is exactly what people usually pay me for. But we'll do a freebie for the stream because I have very much enjoyed talking to everybody. I'm riding a high from going 4-1. So let's delve into a little bit of coaching for everybody. One of the main factors for whether you are charging or whether you are screening or whether you're spacing people is on the tools that they have access to. So let's load up one of these and let's see what we want to do. Now, if you were here for the previous stream, which I think you were, Fish, you heard me say that against Votann, jailing is one of the best ways to go. Now, the reason for that is that, like, Votann don't have a ton of flying units, and there's not a lot they can do to get past you when you do screen them. Now, it becomes very different when you're versing something like Big Knights, because they can just walk over you. What you're doing then is move blocking with spacing, rather than jailing them. Like, it's still a form of jailing them, but you're not standing right next to them so they basically don't get to move. You're standing in all of the places that they could land at the extremity of their move, thereby guaranteeing that they don't get to move at all. So it doesn't really matter which map I put up here. So let's just do this. It was a Crucible of Battle, which is a great one to look at move blocking. Now, all right, let's put down on this side from our opponent. Let's put down Wolves. Let's put down a list that I've been fucking around with lately and considering taking to Gonghammer. So we have units inside impulses. And then we've got a bunch of other stuff. You're in strat reserves because you can come on turn 1. And we've got, like, Thunderwolf Cav, these guys, blah, 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 blah. Now, looking at this one, and I don't even need to put down a ton of the models. What would you guys think would be the play for these guys? Would we want to space them? And let me go through some definitions. Spacing is knowing where they can move to and what their charge distances are, and then standing at a distance that you know will be a nearly or is an impossible charge, or won't be able to get a line of sight for shooting, or won't be able to get, like, you know, the things that they need to kill you. Or even just to charge into you. Like in that NIDS matchup, spacing was one of the things that Rowan did extremely effectively and made the matchup incredibly difficult because his spacing was really good to know that he was within range to move and get me, but he knew all of the ranges of my Riptides and my Ghost Kills and whatever else so that I couldn't do the same thing to him in return. Because he can go through walls, I can't. So if I'm looking at this and I'm infiltrating, would I want to put my boys, like let's put a 9-inch bubble on all of them. Would I want to put my boys like this? I'll let the floor respond. Would I want to let my boys go like this in the hope that I go first and I jail these guys here? Screen empty. Oh my God, it is. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. Smoking Medic cheering 1 bit. Thank you very much for the 1 bit. Appreciate it. And for the follow. Professional streamers out of practice. I am. I'm actually out of practice. Luckily, there was nothing to see when I was setting everything up. So it's actually fine for us to just do this right now. So, just try to get the attention. I appreciate it, dude. So, when we're here, can you guys tell me, would I want to screen... Actually, you know what? Let's go like this. So, we've got like a line of the boys, and we know that we can move forward and try and jail. Does this seem like a good move to everybody against Stormlance Space Wolves that have nothing but advance and charge and fall back and charge at all times? Now, bear in mind that the Thunderwolf Cav can go 21 in the first turn and charge, but they're only a 3-man. They're not the old Wolf Jail of yore. Oh, I don't even have Discord open when I'm streaming. Like, everything's on stream mode so it doesn't go off. It doesn't whatever, but yeah, noise alert was good. Unga Bunga. So now that all of you can see, is this a good position to try and jail him? Ranged only Loyalist World Eater army. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. If you have the Pathfinders out that far, pulling them back turn 1 doesn't really help you at all, does it? That is exactly right. What is the two sides of this? Really, it's that, yes, you are stopping his movement from coming through here. But if he gets first turn, he can run down here. And so what have your Pathfinders achieved? He can be like right here and be charging here. Or he just goes, cool, I was going to move with these guys anyway. I'm going to charge in, touch you in all the wrong places, fight you, and then potentially 3-inch onto the objective, or maybe not, and I just stand here anyway, and you've lost a unit of Pathfinders, and now, depending on what you've got behind, you're not there. So you're just down a unit of Pathfinders, and his stuff got to move anyway, because he's probably going to move like this with an advance, and blah, 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 and he's probably not going to want to come through here, because you can't get back to any semblance of safety to use your units over time. Now, this changes when, let's say, he puts a unit of 6 Thunderwolf Cav, which is able to come and bad touch something in the center. And you know that if you get first or you get second, it doesn't change anything. Unit of 6, and you've got some important stuff like, for example, you've placed your Riptide down, you've done whatever. And because of the terrain, this is your only good staging points for a lot of your big vehicles. So you've gone sort of like this, you've gone this, you've gone like a Riptide out here, and you've measured out that he can basically go 12 to there, and then 9 to there, and still be eligible to charge. It's a 4-inch charge. And you're like, oh shit. And then you go, yep, cool, I'm going to sacrifice a Pathfinder unit. Can I fit in there? No, I can't. So you're going to have them up on the crates. If I go first, I'm not going to be able to jail you all that effectively. But if I don't go first, I'm turning your 21-inch movement into a 9-inch movement and using this Pathfinder unit or Farstalker unit or whatever it might be to the greatest effect because I know you can touch something behind. This against like a big scary fucking brick like this then puts a roadblock in that for 3 Thunderwolf Cav, we won't do it. It's too small units, 100 points. Who gives a shit? 6 of them able to run straight through and bad touch a Riptide, get +1 to wound because they get lance and reroll charges and blah, blah, blah for a CP. There is a ton of things that this unit can do to a Riptide. And then if we've got a bunch of other stuff back here, like, you know, crisis suits and a broadside and blah, 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 if this 6-man gets there, they not only lock down that, but potentially also lock down whatever's on the other side of this wall, like stealth suits and pathfinders that don't have the scout keyword, or our crew carnivores or whatever. We don't want them to be here. Now this becomes okay, I will trade 90 points for 200 and fucking whatever it is, 230. But don't you need those out there before the wolves go out? Not necessarily. Most Stormlands lists are running 1 unit of scouts. Once you see where the scouts are, if he prioritizes, say, like over here to be able to jump back and be able to run this way, I mean, maybe there's a lieutenant with combi weapon, but he's not going to leave him out in the open just here. He's probably going to put him behind this building or over here so that he can walk on and use the reactive move to just be as obnoxious as fucking possible. And he's probably not going to put his scouts, like he may put him in the center. He may be smart enough to know to do that. But assuming that he doesn't, let's say you've got first drop, if you know that there's a 6-man that can place here and go, because really, and this is the other thing, remember that in competitive 40k, there are only certain positions that certain units can go. Like, for example, is there anyone that's going to think putting a Riptide behind here is a good call? This is a bogan with tier 1 for an entire fucking year. My subs, please get some rails in the fucking chat for bogan. That is huge. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate you. Is there anybody that thinks putting a Riptide behind a building like this is good? Or putting a Riptide behind a building like this is good? If you said that yes, then what I can say is wrong. Because now Riptide is going to have to spend how many turns getting out? 6 inches to go here, 4 inches to go here. That's turn 1. 10 inches to get here. That's turn 2. He's interacting with the game by turn 3. Like, there's no reason why you'd ever put a Riptide back there. Same with things like Thunderwolf Cav and, you know, Bjorn and all that sort of stuff. There are only so many good places that he can put stuff. So, like, a big unit which has a massive footprint like this, you know that here, potentially back here, but they're not really able to get anything that they might care about. Potentially down here, but then he has to worry about the cross map, so that's not actually a really good spot. Like, there's really only 2 good places for the Thunderwolf Cav to go. So you kind of know that a 6-man is only going to go in here, which means deterministically, if our Pathfinders are the first thing that goes down and we get Defender, going here is a massive play. You are basically guaranteeing that you look at how much we've screened out from his scouts going. He's only going to use these sides. And now the center, his good laneway to move, like, yes, he can come down this way, but what he can also do is just not stand on that side of it and go like this. Just use your coherency as hard as you can because you don't need as many guys on that side. Boom. Like, this is still an absolutely fine play. And he can come out like that. And then all of a sudden, that unit is only moving like 10, 9 to there. Maybe they go around, but then they're inside a building and they're touching the terrain feature, which makes it easier to shoot them, blah, 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 blah. Like, when you start breaking down deployment in 40k, it really is as simple as there are key spots where stuff can go, and you've just got to work out where your opponent might want to put stuff down. But don't you, I already saw that. 9 inches sounds like a dream. Oh my God. So this one, if I'm trading 90 points to stop this unit getting on my face turn 1, then it's a good idea for me to stand here. Now let's change up the army. Let's go away from Space Wolves or any form of like rush melee. Actually, you know what? Let's go like a Space Wolves or World Eaters list, that has a decent amount of movement, but doesn't have like Stormlance levels of fucking jump on your face. Then we get into something like spacing. Because we know how far our opponent can move. Without advance and charge, you know, we've got like impulses that are going to come up here, blah, 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 blah. So what we end up doing is placing something like a Pathfinder unit in a few key spots where we know that they can't properly interact with us. If we're wanting to bait our opponent to putting stuff out, somewhere like here is great. It gives us the flexibility to go forward if we want to. But if we need to, we just tuck inside here and make whatever charges us pop the wall, or come around here to shoot them, and then that opens them up to the cross map in return. If we're not wanting to bait our opponent, we go somewhere like here. We measure out, obviously, so like these guys can go 7. Without advance and charge, cool. Like over the other side of the wall is like an 11-inch charge. So with my 7, I can move back like this. Not even use the full 7. Be in range of both objectives for my next turn's movement and potentially screen out. And if they want to come here and throw a YOLO fucking 12-inch charge, they can certainly do that. No good opponent's going to do this, by the way. But like... Actually, we've just spaced... 12-inch charge will just get him in on that guy, which means that they can throw it, either stand out in the open here, and we move a Riptide up and just get to fucking shoot the shit out of them while standing on an objective, or they don't make that move and they go somewhere else. That is spacing your opponent. And then we space on space on space on space, which means that we put the broadside in a position... where, like here, we haven't moved in a range where even with a 6-inch pile and consolidate, they can touch him. And same with the Riptide. And then when we start doing this, we start going like to absolute extremities. And even let's say that we're not like fucking touching both objectives. We don't need to do that. We don't need to shoot with the Pathfinders. We get the special weapons right up to the wall and have the Chassis with them as well. We have one guy touching. He's within 2 of these guys. And he's right at the fucking edge of this. Now what we look at is that on their turn, move out 7. I've now only given them a 9-inch charge to get onto me, which is not an appetizing charge distance. It means that he has to advance to be able to touch the objective, or he just does it with his vehicle, and then he's not able to, like, his unit doesn't want to disembark. They've got fucking pistols. They're not going to do anything against Pathfinder unit. So he's just going to chuck these guys down here, disembark them over the wall if it gets destroyed or behind the terrain feature. And now we're trading an impulsor because we didn't give him an easy charge target. The number of times I see people that do some shit like, oh, okay, I've got to get damage down. I've got to get damage down. I'm holding the objective and I'm like, I'm right up here. And I question it and I go, why did you put them up here? And they go, oh, well, you know, I shot at the impulsor and I got I got it down to 5 health. Okay, cool. Now this unit gets to walk out 7. And now we've got a head taker unit with a 3-inch charge that gets to just do whatever they want and then exist on the objective. With a Wolf Priest who can res models and a 4-up invul and blah, blah, blah. Like, the difference between this and how I had it is astronomical, and that is spacing. So, let's look at a matchup where I can actually jail and I'm feeling confident. Pathfinders, go here. We've already measured from the front of the base 7 inches. We can go a little bit further forward, actually, and still get behind the wall, because that should bring me... Actually, we want to be here. So, we will just go 7 forward like that. And in this matchup, we want to jail. He's chucked a shitload of stuff behind the wall here. He's going to be able to get on top of me anyway because of the Vanguard vets with jump packs being like at the back or whatever. We can slow down the impulsor. Or let's say it's a Rhino. Let's say it's not a flying vehicle. Let's say this is a Rhino. Very, very common transport. Well, that was rude. Stupid customers interrupting my watching stream. All right, so for this jail... we know that we don't want to shoot the Pathfinders. Our opponent was smart. He didn't give us anything. We could shoot at the Impulsor, but we're not going to. It's like, let's say it's over here. It's not in a line of sight for broadsides or riptides or whatever. Our opponent's done their shit well. We get first turn. We don't need to go backwards. We scout forward to the point where we are 9 away from our little wolfy friends. And we actually use a little bit more of the scout move to go this way. 5, and you there, meaning we can get our back rank up a little bit further than they would otherwise be able to be. Now I go, all right, I'm not shooting. I'm going to advance this. And I want you to not move because we're doing terraform. And I've got like, you know, a unit of crew carnivores that are going to be able to touch the center because they're scouting forward. They're getting all their stickies down. They're doing whatever else. So we have like, by the end of our movement phase, we've got a strung out unit that's like, this and this and this and then this and then this and then this and then this, and they've terraformed that one. Riptide's gone here and terraformed that one because nobody's able to contest the Riptide at this point. And our Ghost Keel, which we put like over here, well spaced, measured out that we with 10 inches would be able to get onto the objective. 3 and then 7. So Ghost Keel's here, there. We don't even need to do this with the Ghost Keel. We could even just bait because you don't need every objective. It's likely he's going to have stuff to his natural expansion to be able to take this, so whatever. We want to stop him getting to this one and this one so that we can take the terraform points for as long as possible. We advance the Pathfinders. Okay, we get a 4. And we're going 11 inches. So this Rhino is now not able to move. 2 inches puts me where? Just on the other side of him. Cool. So if these guys are base to base with each other, then I've got coherency. Then what I'm going to do, and I would measure this out at a tournament, obviously, so that I'm pinpoint, but I'll do it on TTS like this so that I can maximize my coherency. And this is how you jail with Tau. So this guy goes here. 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 And then he just stands in here. Now, from the Space Wolves player's perspective, he can charge me, but he'll be on the other side of the wall. His Rhino isn't moving because he can't get through here. These guys can't get through here. They'd have to go around, meaning that functionally I've just guaranteed these 2 terraforms. That is how you jail with them, and that's the situation where you do it. There's no Thunderwolf Cav that I'm worried about, or maybe there are Thunderwolf Cav, and I've used this area to go here and then jail them up this way. This is actually what I did to the Death Guard player, both of the Votan and the Sisters. This was something I did super early, but not this extreme and with some shooting because they gave me some targets of opportunity. But this is roughly the theory. Or if you don't want to do this, you move up, shoot into whatever you've got. Like, let's say he left an infantry unit just here. Let's say he's got like some Vanguard vets or whatever. And we're like, cool, we shoot them, remove them, and then the Pathfinders charge. And this is something that not enough people do. Charging with Tau is extremely effective. Because now that Pathfinder unit's going to get out. This is what I did to the Hekaton land fort. Say, Jay, when is the next games day or training day? Is not asking you here question. No, you can ask that question here. I don't know. I'm going to have a look at some dates. I did try to lay something down, but nothing lined up for all of the players. I think what I want to do is like maybe a 7 days before Christmas sort of thing. So people are finishing work, they're on leave, or they've got some more free days, but they haven't left for Christmas, or they're not like using that family time or whatever. So we'll probably try and do it about there. Just hit 11-inch charges. Fuck you, Bren. So this is something that you could do. Like, this is an option if you're not able to jail what's behind here, or it doesn't matter. The other one that you saw, that's how you jail there. And I did it from a safe position back here, utilizing those scout moves. Does that make sense to everybody? Are there any questions on that? On spacing, screening or, the concepts of jailing. At this point, I will actually shamelessly plug, if you actually want to get one-on-one coaching, look down in the description of the YouTube video. I have my website where I sell a bunch of different packs that have options for people, including an add-on for a cheaper game against me. So you can actually like put all of your stuff to the test. Or look at my Patreon where Shasso tier and more importantly, the Pantheon tier get a shitload of my time, as many lists as they want, coaching every single month for multiple sessions, blah, 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 blah. How did you get so handsome? God owed me a favor. Problem solved. And if anybody knows that quote, I will fucking love you forever. Or I could get some time. Perma, I've been trying to remind you and the other Pantheon tier guys that you have all of your time banked up. And for anybody who might be interested, when you get something with me, it will never expire. If you have a session, I will never, even if you left it for a couple of fucking years, I will still allow you to redeem whatever you've got. I do not believe in having somebody pay for something and not getting it. So even if you're not ready for it straight away, like you use an hour of your session, but you've got an hour left, that hour will never expire. You can use it whenever you want. I've been subbing in some star-sized Sunforges, and it's been feeling hella nice. Yeah, I was saying a little bit earlier in the stream that the reason I love the Immortal Tau list so much is that it is so flexible in terms of what you can add in and everything else. As long as you've got a strong core of the list, everything functions so well. And I really think this was actually like designer's intent for what Experimental Prototype Carter was supposed to be, but we all got distracted by the bright flashing lights of the commander's enhancements and crisis suits and whatever. Also, low NOP 18 on the Fire Knives was fucking incredible. Most of the time, I didn't even have to spend the CP because people knew I could do it. If they couldn't get within that 18, which of course I spaced correctly and pre-measured, they didn't even go for it. I didn't even have to spend the CP because they just wouldn't go there to stand out in the open to have me spend the CP. It was extremely good. But yeah, Perma, we actually need to have a session soon. It's been so long since I've heard your beautiful voice. Where do I redeem a hot tub stream? Well, if you remember, Bogan, I set the challenge for everybody that if my Patreon hit 1,000 US per month, then Chelsea and I would do a hot tub stream. At the moment, we're still waiting to get towards that goal. We are actually close. We're only like, I think, 200 US off, 300 US off. So it's been doing well, but we haven't hit the goal. I did give you guys until the end of 2024, but I will extend it till the end of 2025. If you guys get my Patreon to 1,000 US a month, I will do a hot tub stream with Chelsea. I don't know where the fuck I'm going to get one, but we'll probably just break into somebody's house and then make a break for it once they come home. But yeah, guys, if there are no more questions about the list or the run or whatever else, I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons who make all my videos possible. If you would like to join them, join the Discord community and all of the good stuff that comes with that, including behind the scenes stuff and at the higher tiers coaching. Are you the Vulture? My man! But W Streamer again, thank you. Yeah, go and check out the link in the description, or YouTube membership also gets you the same stuff, but the Pantheon tier doesn't exist on YouTube membership. It is a Patreon only thing. Stephen Fallon, you have just come in at the end of the stream, my dude. The VOD will be up straight away on YouTube, so you can obviously go and watch there. But yeah, I hope all of you enjoyed it. I hope all of you get some time playing the list. It has been absolutely fantastic. My stream for maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days, will be deciding what I'm taking to Gonghammer. And at the moment, it's a three-way tie between Gorilla Oxcad Tau, this Space Wolves list, or some variant of it, or Aspectos Eldari. So we'll be doing a stream to sort of talk through the pros and the cons and whatever else. Thank you all for joining me. It has been absolutely wonderful seeing everybody. And yeah, hope you all have a wonderful day. See you later, everybody.